Spent most of her time in their neighbor's empty house, reading travel books from the library boat or making up slow songs on her violin. Finn wasn't allowed in, but he liked to sit on the front step and listen. Usually Cora left the sitting room window open a little bit so he could talk to her through it. Sometimes he brought his accordion, too, if it wasn't raining, in case she wanted to play together, but she never played songs he knew. "What are you reading about today?" Finn hooked his fingers over the windowsill's lip. There was just enough space for them. "Mexico," said Cora. She pressed the book up to the glass so Finn could see. Happy Backpacker Guides presents Mexico, 1967 edition. There were some laughing people in old-fashioned clothes dancing on a sand beach on the cover. "They sometimes eat chocolate on chicken there," she said. "Wow," said Finn. "Yep," said Cora. "It's way better than here." "Is it?" "Yep." "I hate it here," said Cora. "You do?" "Yep." "Not everything, not all of it," said Finn. "You like the empty houses." "I like them better than ours. That doesn't mean I really like them." "You like rock jumping and copying pans and summer swimming and—" "I only like doing those things with people," said Cora, "with friends." "But I—" said Finn, then stopped. "Anyway," he said, "they'll be back." "They won't." "They will." "I bet you they won't." "I bet they will." They put $5 on it, even though neither of them had $5. "How long till they're back?" asked Cora. "A year," said Finn. Said Cora. They shook hands through the open window. Then Cora went back to the neighbor's sofa and opened her book. "Want to play the fish of the sea?" asked Finn. "Not right now." "Okay." Finn sat on the step watching the road to see if anyone would come by. He decided he'd stay there until after 10 blue cars had passed, but only one did, and it was white. "Well, I guess I'm going to look for caribou." "Okay." She didn't look up from her book. She had her fingers holding several places in the pages. "You want to come?" "No, thanks." Finn wore rubber boots so he could walk right through the bogs, but he still had to be careful not to get sucked down or stuck. There was a cairn about 2 miles out that he was aiming for. He had constructed it the last time he was there, carefully balanced on a raised plateau of red rock, and he wanted to see if it was still intact. The southern half of the island had trees, clumps of dark, skinny tamaracks and firs, but the northern half, where they lived, was too windy, so it was just rocks and lichen and bog and more rocks. If Finn stood up beside his cairn, he could see out for miles. Miles and miles of bumpy orange and gray, and sometimes caribou, too, in heavy brown clusters, or less often just one at a time. As long as he didn't get too close, they would pay him no attention, just carry on eating, or if it was autumn, calling, or most often, just standing. They could stand perfectly still for minutes and minutes, like cairns. Finn would watch them while picking and piling rocks, counting out their stillness in seconds under his breath. On his way back, he watched the ground for any early cranberries, anything to add to one more family dinner of just starting to get stale bread and soup. Cora joined him halfway, and they walked home together. "They'll be back," said Finn. "They won't." "They will." Their time was mostly their own now. The Canadian Maritimes distance community's homeschool work they had to do was easy. They'd do their week's worth on Sunday between lunch and supper, and then Finn and Cora were free to do what they wanted for the rest of the week, so long as they did some music practice and didn't drown. This meant that Cora would go to the neighbors, where she'd started to keep the blinds closed so Finn couldn't look in. "I'm making you a surprise," she said. "That's why." Even so, Finn stopped to check each time he passed, just in case she'd left them open that day. After checking, Finn would go south to build cairns with the caribou, or north to the shore, where he'd take his shoes and socks off and practice standing in the freezing water for as long as he could, or row himself east, across to accordion lessons with Mrs. Callahan. Martha would work nets. Nobody needed them for fish anymore, but sometimes she'd sell one as something to throw over garbage to keep it from blowing away on collection day. 2 weeks and 1 day before Aidan came home and Martha left again, it was Finn's 11th birthday. Martha made bunting and hung it over his bed in the night while he was sleeping, and Cora played